Welcome on into the channel. This is Spruce and Studs, and thankfully we have more new action figure announcements to discuss, and this time we have a whopping 8 of them. Let's start off with the Horus Heresy side of things with the Imperial Fist Legion Apothecary. Looking at this figure, I'm really impressed with the amount of details that JoyToy has put into it. You can tell that every single inch of this figure is covered in some sort of decoration or accessory. If you compare this action figure to the initial releases of the Imperial Fist, such as the Breacher Squad or the Tactical Squad, it looks positively amazing because those older figures just look kind of bland and don't have as much detail going on with them. And yes, I know that I'm comparing a character figure to a grunt figure, but still, the evidence is there. Anyway, this action figure goes for around $55. And it will be tentatively released in November 2025. Moving on to the Sons of Horus, they got a drop of 3 very excellent looking action figures. The Legion Praetor in Cataphracti armor, as well as the Legion Champion, continues the excellence that is set before them by Horus Aximand. The Legion Praetor, that I believe that belongs to the group of Justaran Terminators, blends the look of gold, black, and red perfectly, and this color combination really attracts the eye. I think that this figure looks better than the initial release of the Legion Praetor in Cataphracti armor. That figure looked a little bit lackluster, which was one of the biggest reasons why I did not decide to buy this action figure. Keep in mind that the prices that I'm quoting are from David Toys before the 12% pre-order discount, or if you use my code SNS. The Sons of Horus Champion looks positively fantastic with this regal looking red cape, and then armor that has gunmetal accents, which is visually striking against the color of the armor itself. The Champion, should you choose to buy him, costs $66. I suppose the weakest looking of the 4 Horus Heresy action figure announcements is the Sons of Horus Apothecary. Compared to the Imperial Fist Apothecary, it appears that his right leg as well as his right arm isn't as decorated as his counterparts. The Apothecary goes for an MSRP of $55, and all 3 of these action figures are going to be released sometime in November of 2025 as well. I suppose the next question is, can you look forward to these action figure reviews by me? And my answer is a definitive yes. I will be buying all 4 of them to review, so look for those reviews sometime in November or maybe even December, depending on when these action figures are released. More importantly, I also want to talk about what these releases could possibly mean. So we all know that there are a lot of action figures for each and every single legion that has yet to be released for, to be honest, each and every single faction. I find it kind of odd that JoyToy is kind of going in and backfilling the gaps of missing action figures from legions in which they have already released. If that's the case, I suppose we might be seeing more action figures from the Space Wolves, the Thousand Sons, as well as the Ultramarines in that particular order, because that was the order in which they were released. Now, with that being said, I kind of feel disappointed that they're filling in the gaps now. I would much rather JoyToy fill out the very lacking Iron Warriors lineup, as well as announce new Space Marine legions, rather than go back and bolster the ranks of old legions. However, that is just my preference, and you may all agree or disagree with me. So leave a comment in the comment section to let me know what your preference is. Would you rather see more action figures from new legions, or have JoyToy go back and backfill the ranks of the already existing ones? Oh, if you are interested in picking up any of these action figures that I am talking about in this video, please click on the link in the description below, or you will be brought to David Toys. David Toys is a fine purveyor of these action figures, and within the past 3 years that I've used them, again, I have encountered no issues with them whatsoever, as they have fantastic customer service that really makes everybody happy, and they have quite a few things going for them, which is free shipping and also tariffless shipping, which is a pretty big deal in this day and age that we're living in right now. And if the orders are not pre-orders, you can go ahead and use my code SNS to receive 12% off of your purchase. Now let's move on to the Warhammer 40K side of things, which really gets me excited because Warhammer 40K was my gateway drug into the Warhammer universe. So in prior videos, I was talking about how last August, GW announced the revamping of some miniatures as well as some new ones for the Blood Angels. And from that announcement to when they were converted into action figure form took about a year to do so. So the announcements for these new action figures were spearheaded by the Blood Angels captains, which then prompted me to say that the release of the much maligned Sanguinary Guard was going to be imminent, and lo and behold, I was correct on that one. And now look, I am correct in saying that the Sanguinor as well as Lamartes are now being announced for release as well. So let's talk a little bit about Lamartes, and I can say that he is a very faithful rendition to his miniature form. Needless to say, Lamartes looks absolutely badass in his custom MK10 armor with the really metal looking helmet. As Lamartes is a special character, his action figure is going to be a little bit more expensive and will set you back around $69. He is scheduled to be released this month in October. Next is a Sanguinor, who looks absolutely elegant and resplendent with his gigantic, unique shaped angelic wings, as well as his muscular golden armor. So this action figure will cost $75, and he is due to be released in November of 2025. You best be sure that I will be buying and reviewing these two special characters in the very near future, so look forward to those reviews. So what does the release of these two special characters mean? Well, it means that the release train for the Blood Angels is coming to an end. The only action figure that is left to be announced is Asterath. As to when JoyToy is going to announce this figure, again, I have no ties to JoyToy or GW, so I have absolutely no idea. So I'm just making an educated guess right here. Oh, if you are liking this preview content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that your feed can become inundated with more Horus Heresy as well as Warhammer 40K action reviews, as well as videos such as this one. Finally, Dark Angels fans rejoice because you have some fantastic action figures that were recently announced, starting off with the Grandmaster of the Deathwing, which is Belial. Needless to say, I think the figure looks absolutely fantastic. Although there is one thing I kind of worry about, which is the attachment of the cape. I think that the attachment of the cape to the right shoulder is nothing to be worried about. However, on the right shoulder, you can see that the cape is wrapped around the pauldron. Therefore, I kind of worry about the articulation of the left arm. Anyway, since Belial is in Terminator armor, he's going to be a little bit hefty in price, weighing in at $80. And he will be released this month in October. Then obviously you cannot have the release of a Grandmaster without his supporting troops, who are the Deathwing Knights. I find it interesting that one has a teleport Homer, and that the second one has a Watcher in the Dark, which I thought that Watchers in the Dark only accompany special character figures. I love how all three of these action figures have a continuity with each other. However, every single one of them, if you zoom in and look at the details, they have little things that set them apart from each other, whether it be varying decorations or placements of different icons and symbols. So these figures each will cost $67 and will be released sometime in November. Now, I'm not sure if you remember, because I certainly did not before I was doing my research, but the announcement of the GW miniatures of these new Deathwing Knights came sometime in November or December of 2023. So it actually took 2 years for JoyToy to convert those miniatures into action figure form. I suppose the most important thing about the announcements of the Deathwing Knights as well as Belial is the potential release of the other action figures from that GW announcement back in 2023 as well as very early 2024. So which action figures am I talking about? Well, there might be a potential for the release of Asmodai, who is Interrogator Chaplain number 1, and the Inner Circle of Companions, all of which who have very good looking models. Again, I have no ties to JoyToy or GW, so I have no insider information whatsoever. This is just me trying to make an educated guess based on the things that I have known in the past. Will yours truly review the Deathwing Knights as well as Belial? And my answer is 100% yes, because they look absolutely top tier. All right, that does it for going over the new announcements from JoyToy. Please let me know in the comments section which action figure or action figures you are most excited for in this batch of 8 releases that are coming up in the very near future. I'll be honest with you, out of all 8 of them, I'm kind of very excited to see the Deathwing Knights as well as Belial over my beloved Blood Angels, believe it or not. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, members of the chapter. I appreciate all of your likes, comments, and subscribes, as it helps out the channel so much. And with that being said, I will see you all in the next one.